Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm putting some brand new heavy duty motor mounts on the old 3B. Real quick y'all, I just want to get this out of the way. For the rest of the video, I'm probably going to be calling these motor mounts. The website calls them motor mounts. Some people call them engine mounts. I think the repair manual calls them isolators. I know a motor is electric, but most people call these things motor mounts. That's what I'm going to call them today. All right, y'all, so these come from BigWillyJeep.com. Y'all have heard me talk about his stuff before. He's the one that makes the really cool rock sliders, the cool U-bolt skid plates. He's also got a bunch of other stuff, including these heavy-duty motor mounts on his website. Y'all can see these are built really well, good welds, nice bent metal. Comes with all the necessary hardware you're going to need. Now, these don't come in black like this. I painted these black. They come apart super easy, though. Pull that cotter pin, pull that pin out, they come apart. I painted them black. You can paint them whatever color you want to, or just let them rust. I'm going to go ahead and get these installed, and then we're going to talk about advantages and disadvantages of using motor mounts of this style. First thing we need to do is go ahead and chalk these tires. Now, fortunately, you're not working on a Prius, you're working on a Jeep. So we're going to take a jack and a block of wood, and there's a nice skid plate up under the oil pan on these. We're going to support the engine there. Go ahead and raise the jack up just where it touches the oil pan, where it's supported, and then we'll move on to the motor mounts. All right, so we've got that raised up just touching the oil pan. We got support. Now on the driver's side, you're going to have one nut here. Passenger side, right behind the battery tray. Got the other one. It's going to take a 3/4 socket or wrench to get that nut off. Now we can start raising the jack until the engine clears the motor mounts. So now we got this up past the motor mounts. Go ahead, just do a quick field check. Make sure everything feels stable and balanced. Your transmission and transfer case mount and everything should keep it all in one place. All the jacks really do is holding it up. Now, I'm going to show y'all something crazy. This was not planned. I'm really surprised this happened. As I was lifting the engine up, I noticed this start coming loose, like it came unglued there. If we come around to the driver's side, you can see this one completely tore away, totally ripped in half. Didn't even come unglued, it actually ripped in half. These are brand new reproduction style. I can't remember what brand. Obviously these were just not up to the task. They're just not made that well. I think that's ridiculous. So that was a brand new motor mount, and as I was raising up, I actually went in there with a pry bar and I was just kind of gently helping it up, make sure it didn't get bound up or anything. Really, that's pretty ridiculous. Brand new motor mounts and they broke that easy. Now that we've got the engine up above the mounts, we can go ahead and take these 1/2-inch nuts and bolts off. There's one on each side, same on the driver's side. This is your ground strap to your engine. We want to make sure we hook this thing back up when we put the new mounts on. Now that we've got them old broken mounts off, we're going to go ahead and start putting these new ones on. Now these, I believe, are designed to go right back. Everything in the stock location. Got the stock bolt pattern. Even the same style of hardware to bolt everything back on. Hopefully everything lines up and looks real good. Probably going to start over there on the passenger side. So I've got these in here. I believe this is the correct orientation to put them in. You can see I've got quite a bit of misalignment right now though. Now I think a lot of that is because you can see how bent that motor mount is. I don't know if that's when they pulled the engine at one point or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and straighten that back up. I don't think it's anything to do with the motor mounts. I think it's something to do with that engine mount plate. So I went ahead and I straightened this up just a little bit more, got some of that bend out of it. The alignment's a lot better now. It's really close. You're going to have some float in it too, just because all this is on isolators too. So you do have that control of moving this back and forth. If you're really in a jam, you can loosen up your cross member too, and that'll give you just a little bit more play. I've got all these bolts in with the nuts on them, so everything's set up and ready to go in. I'm going to slowly start dropping this engine, working them mounts in. I've got the other one set up the same exact way. Just go slow with it. Don't get in a big hurry, and these should just fall right into place. Actually, y'all, change of plans. So I'm going to start with the stud in the motor plate itself, because as that engine comes down, this would have to like roll in so much. It's probably going to damage the threads. I don't even know if it'll roll in right. I think it'll be a lot easier to do it this way, set it down, and then just line it up with them slots. All right, let's do it again, round two. Now I got everything in, all the bolts, the nuts, got the nuts on top here. Same on the passenger side, everything's in, lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and let the rest of the pressure off the jack. Now, final step, just tighten everything back up. All right, so that's about it. It's not a hard job, something you can knock out in 45 minutes or an hour maybe. Hopefully your engine mount plate ain't bent up like mine was, which honestly it wasn't even that bent. A little bit of straightening, it lined right up. Best thing you can do when you're doing this job, just take it slow, take your time, get everything lined up, get all your nuts and bolts started, keep it all loose. Once all the weight's back down, once everything's lined up, then start tightening everything up. Like I said, you even got a little play back there in the transmission cross member. But fortunately, I didn't have to do anything back there. Everything up here lined up really good in the stock location. Couple things I failed to mention. You get nylock nuts with this kit, so there's no lock washer to fool with. Also, both of these have that pin with the collar pin holding it in there. So for whatever reason, you went to pull this engine out or something like that, pull them pins out and you can lift the whole engine out. Now I want to talk about advantages and disadvantages of the different motor mounts that can be used. There's really three main types I want to talk about. First off is going to be your rubber. That's the original OEM style motor mount that would come on this thing, the ones that broke like instantly when I started pulling them back out. Now, there's nothing wrong with that style. It's a very common style of motor mount used on all kinds of vehicles. The advantages to just a rubber isolator like that, you're going to get less vibration. It absorbs a lot more of that from the engine. And there's almost zero opportunity for anything there to squeak or anything like that. But like we saw, they are very easy to break. There's nothing really keeping that rubber to that steel besides, I guess, like some glue, some bonding agent. And you saw they just ripped like right off. It didn't take much at all to rip them. Also, something kind of surprising is with the rubber, you actually lose a small amount of power. Because if you think about it, if you've ever seen like a vehicle with a broken motor mount and the engine's just flopping over to one side or what have you, you're losing power when the engine is rotating like that. The next style I want to talk about is the style I just installed, which is a fully caged polyurethane mount. Now on these from Big Willy Jeep, you've got a polyurethane mount, just like you'd see on like a leaf spring or something like that. It's fully caged, everything's connected, so even if that polyurethane did fail, that motor mount still ain't going to come out of there. The engine's not going to flop over because it's all pinned together. Something kind of cool about that style, if the polyurethane ever does wear out, you can just rebuild these, you know, you can just put a new bushing in there. But actually, on Big Willy Jeep's website, it actually says lifetime warranty at the bottom of these. And most likely this already is a lifetime motor mount. I don't see it ever wearing out. Now on the rubber mounts, I mentioned you do lose a little bit of power to the give of the engine, rocking back and forth. With these, that's greatly reduced. You get a little bit more power out of it. It's not a lot, but to be honest, on these stock engines like this, you want to get all the power you can get out of them. There is a couple small disadvantages to these though. You're probably going to feel a touch more vibration just because the mount is a little bit more solid than that rubber. There is one more engine mount option, and that's just hard mounted or fixed mounted, where it's just two pieces of metal and the engine's bolted right to the frame. You'll see that set up in like drag cars and stuff like that. That's for max power to the rear wheels. It's not really something you want to do in a Jeep. I just feel like it'd be way too much vibration. It'd probably be really hard on the engine. You're probably going to start bending stuff. You really want to have some give there. If you do a lot of trail riding and off-roading, this is a great option for you because it bolts right up to your stock engine. You're going to get a touch more power. And most importantly, there's almost no chance you'll ever break these motor mounts. I'm really happy with these. I'm really excited to get them out on the trail, try them out, really give y'all a review of what it's like driving on these, if the vibration's any worse or not. Down the road, I'm probably going to do like a side-by-side comparison. I'll drive around on these, do a review, swap in some OEM style ones, drive around on them, do a review, and let y'all know the difference if there even is really more vibration. Like I said, these came from Big Willy Jeep. I'll have the link down below for him. He's got a bunch of cool stuff. You might as well just go ahead and check out his whole catalog while you're there. I really appreciate y'all checking out this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time.